Okay, the last thing we're going to do in this lesson is continuous compound interest. So this is different than just compound interest that we've already learned. Our compound interest formula was that a times p parentheses 1 plus r divided by n to the nth power. Well, this continuous compound interest is a equals PERT. Also, I learned it as PERT. It's an easy way to remember it. R is the annual interest rate. T is the time in years. Now, what is compound interest? Continuous compound interest? It is essentially compound interest on steroids. So you know how I talked about how this compound interest formula, you're given like when it's compounded, whether it's compounded monthly, annually, or whatnot, and what that means. Like, let's say if it's compounded annually, I deposit $1,000 in. For some reason, for the first year, I gain interest of $10. So then the second year, then I am now calculating interest on $1,010. And let's say I get $13 of interest that way. Okay, so now the third year I'm going to compound interest, or I'm going to gain interest on $1,023. Okay, that's what compounding means, is how often it takes what you've already earned and adds it to the original amount. So if you get something compounded monthly, that's a lot better than annually, or compounded daily is even better. This continuous compound interest is essentially compounded every second. That's why it's on steroids, or the best way to think about it is daily, if you're talking about savings accounts. Okay, so this says suppose you invest $1,050 at an annual interest rate of 5.5%, compounded continuously. So this needs to be the trigger that we are using this formula, not that one. Okay, this is when you're given compounded quarterly, monthly, weekly, annually, whatever it is you're given. This is continuously, this one. How much money to the nearest dollar will you have in the account after 5 years? So to do this, we just use our formula like we know how. A is the amount we're going to have at the end of our term. So that's what we're finding after 5 years. So A is A. P is our principal, what we're starting at. So we are initially depositing $1,050. And then E is a number. So E is represented by E here. You remember that 2.7 number. R is our rate. So in this case, it's going to be 0.055 because we move our decimal point 2 places to the left. And then T is our time in years, which is 5. So we're essentially doing, and I'll put it on here, $1,050 times E to the power of 0.055 times 5. Close our parentheses. And that looks like it's about $1,382.36, but it sends round to the nearest dollar, so about $1,382. Which makes that's a heck of a lot better deal than anything we've talked about for that short time. If you remember, for less percent interest rate and deposit starting with $1,000, but going for 18 years, we gained $1,047. This is just 5 years, and we've already gained $382. It's a pretty decent amount of money gained. But again, there's not many savings account that continuously does compound interest. But you might find some other, like maybe a CD or some other form that will compound continuously like that.